Hello, Unbreakme here with a look at the LEGO Technic Concrete Mixer Truck set number 42112. I really appreciate this set because it is actually the first ever concrete mixer truck in the form of LEGO Technic. We have never ever seen a vehicle like this in Technic before, and it truly is revolutionary in a lot of ways. I'd love to take a look at the main function first. So here's the gearbox. If it's in neutral, you can just roll the vehicle forward and nothing will happen. If you engage it in this position over here, essentially what's going to happen is that the concrete mixer is going to be engaged to the drivetrain directly, and as soon as you push the vehicle forwards, the concrete mixer will spin. So that's really great. But if you switch the gearbox in the other direction, essentially now you get this hand crank over on this side, and then you just crank this little shaft, and the concrete mixer will spin. What I really appreciate about this is that it actually does use an Archimedes type spiral inside of it, so when you spin it clockwise, the concrete mixer will spin in a way that the spiral goes forward, essentially putting all the concrete or the Lego pieces inside of it to the front. And if you spin it counterclockwise, the concrete mixer will start unloading everything over here. I really appreciate this functionality. And it's so awesome because as a kid, I've always wanted to know how concrete mixer trucks actually work. I always see them on the road, and I was always fascinated by this. But now that I get to experience that with just this Lego set, it's really amazing. Fortunately, Lego does provide 100 of these pieces, so you do get quite a lot of them, but you can use little pegs, you can use connectors, you can use tiny little 1x1 studs here. You can just use so many different elements, and that's what I really love about this. The concrete mixer is essentially two big pieces connected by pins. If you take a look inside, you'll actually, see the spiral over here. What I really appreciate about these pieces is that they are really premium, and these arrows over here, they're not stickers, they're actually printed, so that's really cool, and I feel like a lot of mock makers are definitely gonna make use of this piece. They're gonna build their own concrete mixer trucks, and maybe even potentially great ball contraptions. It's perfect for great ball contraptions. It's just wow. One of the things that kind of bugs me about this set is that the concrete mixer is actually connected through a linear clutch into the gearbox. I really don't understand why a linear clutch is necessary here. I mean, when is the concrete mixer ever gonna get stuck to the point that it might break the gears? I have never even encountered an instance where the linear clutch slips. So, what's the point here? I mean, it's like LEGO Technic has always been obsessed with different unnecessary clutch mechanisms, like the useless clutch gear, which everyone replaced with a standard 24-tooth gear. And finally, this linear clutch, which you can replace with a solid straight axle extender piece. And so let's take a look at the front section over here. I really love the contrast between the regular blue and the dark blue. It looks phenomenal. All of these details, unfortunately, are stickers, but I'm really not complaining here. I mean, because a lot of mock makers are really gonna appreciate the dark blue, and for them to have the option to use it, wherever without the printing, I think that's cool. This front section just looks phenomenal in my opinion. They really did a great job detailing this set. You can open these little doors over here, that's a cool feature. But inside this front area over here, you will find a 4-piston inline engine over here, which I do really appreciate because this engine is not a traditional LEGO Technic engine. We have seen it, of course, in the Mack Anthem, in the Land Rover Defender, and the 6x6 articulated hauler. So it's not new that we do get this type of engine, but I do have a slight little problem with this engine. It does not use the 1x3 beams that the 6x6 articulated hauler uses. It just kind of pushes up on the axles, which is a bit problematic because the axles do tend to get stuck, and the engine sometimes really doesn't work that properly. So I would sort of fix this by using some 1x3 beams and modify it a little bit. But I still really like the front section over here. I don't really have many complaints with it. Over on the top, you will find a little gear. I do wish it was a little bit bigger, but it still works nonetheless for the steering mechanism of this entire concrete mixer. And I do really appreciate that both the front sets of wheels actually turn, and it is very nice. The concrete mixer does have a nice turning radius, and this mechanism is just really great. It's really authentic to actual concrete mixers over here. From this side, you're actually gonna see the water tank over here. Unfortunately, it does not look like a water tank. It really looks like something else. But I do really love this gap area over here. This set is just begging to be motorized. I mean, you could add a servo motor in here. You could add a battery box in here. Oh man, there's just so many endless possibilities for motorization with this set. I really love it. So here's the question. Is this set really worth $120? Well, it's sort of complicated because back in 2010 we got the amazing container truck, which is actually very similar in size to the concrete mixer truck, but that set was only $70. It contained a medium motor, a battery box, and a very cool mechanism for either just raising the container or actually unloading it, which I think is really cool. So for less money, you actually got more playability and more functions. You got the battery box and the motor. And yes, I know that this set, of course, does have far more pieces than the container truck from 2010, but it still does show you that back in the day, you could get Technic sets for much cheaper, and they could have more value, more play value to them. If the set was priced at like maybe $100 or even 110, I'd be perfectly okay with it. I think that 120 is a little bit pushing it, especially for a Technic set, because it's not just about the piece count, it's about the playability, it's about the authenticity, the functionality, the challenging building that the set offers. The main attraction of this set is of course the concrete mixer. If you've been dreaming your entire life to make a LEGO Technic mock with a concrete mixer or a great ball contraption that uses this mechanism, go for it. This set is definitely for you. And by the way, it's actually back ordered on lego.com right now, so I don't know. It seems to be in demand, so maybe you should buy it too. Try to find it at your local store or something. The LEGO Technic 6x6 Volvo articulated hauler is also back ordered, by the way. And I have a full review of that set right over here. Make sure to click on that, check it out. This is your Unbreak Me here, and I'll see you in the next one.